This one, it was a little bit off the beaten path for me personally. The case was in of itself relatively simple. It was a 2-year-old girl who presented to the ER complaints of vomiting, runny nose, cough, congestion, diagnosed with a viral illness, and then sent home. And then presented something like about 24 to 48 hours later, and had very, very critical phosphate deficiency. Now, the way the child presented was because the child started having seizures at home. They controlled the seizures, worked up the seizures in the ER, found that the child's phosphate level was critically low, and they were starting to replenish the phosphate when the child unfortunately coded and died. Now, the legal question here was whether or not that could or and should have been diagnosed at the first ER visit. Went through the records. It was unfortunate, but there really wasn't much of an indication to work the child up for hypophosphatemia. So the legal aspect for this case was relatively straightforward. But then as I was continuing to discuss the case with the attorney said, yeah, mom is just really kind of grasping for answers as to how her child died. She still doesn't really know, and she has a twin sister. And I said, I'm sorry, did you say mom doesn't know, and in the same sense tell me that there's a twin? And the attorney looked at me and asked, well, yeah, what's the significance of that? And I said, well, generally speaking, you get to this sort of an issue through genetic means. There's a strong likelihood here, certainly one that if this family were my patient, I'd say we should probably get the twin tested, or at least have a discussion with the geneticist and with an endocrinologist as to whether or not the twin should be tested for hypophosphatemia. And so, at my strong recommendation, the attorney reached back out to the family, and the family had said, thank you so much for telling me this, because my other daughter hasn't really been doing well. They're not entirely sure what or why. The family had moved to a whole other state after the passing of their first child, and none of the medical doctors were really sure what's going on. So we were actually able to provide one of the key pieces of the family history to start the workup for the surviving twin. And my hope is that that they're well on their way to helping the surviving twin grow and thrive. So that was a really, really unique circumstance for the case clinic that I don't often get to do. If you ever want to speak and bring me in on a consultation, be more than happy to work with you guys. At the end of the day, my only goal is to make sure that we get these cases reviewed accurately and correctly, and to make things right whenever we can. My email address is my first name, James, at expertinstitute.com. And, feel free to reach out if you guys have any pediatric cases or any pediatric questions.